And that's the update. There's no action required of the council.
Okay, but any reimbursements are on hold at this point?
Correct.
Okay.
That's acceptable.
And that's what we need to discuss here.
Now, Aaron, this is Larry. Do we need Vicki and I met as the ad hoc committee, looking at that current policy and updating it, making some changes? Are you going, the staff going to handle it from this point, or are we going to remeet?
No, I think you guys pretty much hammered it out. We got the ideas. I know about with regards to time limits, about council members getting in on time and not, we talked about the 30 and the 60-day marks for reimbursements and things like that. That will be in there. And then, like I said, then we'll just wait for the individual council members to get back. I think we pretty much talked about it. The framework was there. We need, like I said, we need to tighten some things up, make sure we spell out some certain things that aren't in the policy. And I think we're good. Yeah, I think there was an issue there about cash advances, which why we would do that, I have no idea.
At one time they did.
I would never recommend that. That's
At one
just
time they
wrong.
had credit cards.
That's just wrong. So, but if something comes up to where if the only reason I would need the ad hoc committee to come back is if I get all the information back, if I get the comments back from the council. If it's something I feel I need to, I might just send you guys emails. But if it's something we need to sit down and talk about, a few things to hammer out, we might have to meet once more. But I don't think so. We can probably just handle it through email.
All right, that sounds fine.
Okay, any further comments? Any city comment?
You don't think we'll pass this up, do you?
Never a doubt.
I really hate to be here, but I've read this, and I'm just surprised that you had an intern write something like this, because it makes absolutely no sense in what you have. Has the council read the law that pertains to reimbursements for your positions? So one of you have. I think that's part of your responsibility as a council, is to do that, because you wouldn't know whether this is right or wrong unless you read that and what it means and how it applies. The other thing that's kind of interesting to me is the first paragraph. I have no idea what the heck they're trying to establish, but it says the council Canyon funds only expenses for equipment. And it's interesting because in December, the city attorney said the city doesn't pay for equipment, yet the city has an equipment policy. You have two policies. One's a travel policy, and one's an equipment policy, and one's an overall statement. The travel policy, there's nothing wrong with that. It explains everything that you have here. It does give a term, doesn't say 30 or 60 days, but it's within that time frame. And everything else is stated in there. But you don't follow it. It doesn't make any difference what you write in anything like this, but you don't follow it and pay attention to it. The thing, I think Jordan was probably the only one here at the time, but on page 1, just in that first paragraph, that makes some sense. That means the city of Canyon Lake has a sum of money saved and made available for a particular purpose with the necessary items for a particular purpose. When you talk about funds and equipment, that doesn't mean anything. What you already have says that this is set up to reimburse council members for expenses that are necessary for the job. That's what you have, but you don't write that down. It's what it says in 3 different documents, but it's not in here. Then the next sentence isn't a sentence, but you get down into the first thing with the subparts B, expenses which exceed the limits established for each office holder. I think, Jordan, you went through that one time. You have so much per each council member, then you can trade it off and do all of this stuff, and that was that way for a while. I mean, you may have been on the council then too. What a pain. So now you're going to establish a total amount, like $9,000 is your budget amount now. And now you're going to break it down into 5 different parts. And one person, Vicki, doesn't do expense accounts, so can she negotiate that out to somebody else or something else? This is ridiculous. I mean, I could go page by page by page, and I just want to get into something because you're gonna use the 3 minutes on me, I'm sure. Because it would take much longer than that to go through page by page. But you have an example.
John.
I think your 3 minutes are up. I'm sorry.
Can I just make one quick point? And it says here, an expense for meals.
Because that's the rules, that's what we read. Sorry, David, that's not.
You're the one that's hard on the rules.
Right.
This is rule.
Don, as you know, that when I was here, that Tim said this is like a town hall meeting. I am not going to do it, and you didn't do it, and you don't do it. So
what is
use it for me, just like the expense account is used for me, not for you people.
Any further comments from the council? Okay. The next meeting is scheduled for May 3rd at 6:30 for a
We have to include that, I think we just.
No, it was just, it's just, yeah. And this reimbursement policy is a draft. It's printed very broadly across it, but it's a draft. Being an English lit major, I did a lot of reading on it and gave a whole list of things to Aaron that needed to be corrected or looked at. That's what you do with the draft. You fix any problems that are on the draft, and I'm confident that we will fix any problems that are on the draft. So with that, the next city council meeting is scheduled for May 3rd at 6:30 for open session, and I adjourn at 5 minutes of 1.
Larry, you good?
I'm good. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you, we'll be back down tomorrow.
You too, I hope you're ready.